What's up, guys? Clocking off soon. Can't wait to catch up. Clocking off. Wouldn't it be clocking out? Hana. Hana flower. Actually, you know what? My chat's being a little weird. Let me go ahead and reopen my chat real quick. Okay, there we go. I'm not even really sure what to say about this at the moment. This is kind of like one of those things like following Arlena and shit like that, just as she goes through court and everything, just kind of keeping track of what these guys are doing as they continue to do whatever it is they are doing. Chris Hallett is one of the founders of MekoHaze. Chris Hallett was murdered by one of their clients. MekoHaze is a sovereign law group. MekoHaze teaches nonsensical sovereign law. We've been talking about this a lot lately, ever since that murder happened. And apparently his girlfriend, Shannon Mutter-Tanis, who I haven't really wanted to talk about at all, is now saying that they're going to keep MekoHaze going. So I don't know. I'm not even really sure what to say about this at this point. So I'm just gonna let this play for a minute, and we'll see if I think of something while it plays, because I don't even know. I mean, as far, I don't even think Chris Hallett's buried yet. So they're saying they're already going to keep the group going that helped contribute to his murder before he's even buried in the ground. I don't know. I don't know how long him and Shannon were together. I don't think it was that long. So I don't know. I'm just going to let this play. Like I said, I just want to keep track of this shit, especially with the MekoHaze guys, because fuck these people, basically. You know what? Let me refresh this. And then I think I need to change my sound real quick for you guys. There we go.
Setting up my meeting.
You're on.
You can see me. All right. Hello. Welcome, everybody. We're doing a virtual live memorial for Christopher Hallett. We have some of the people that were very close to him, that engaged with him a lot, and we're just going to be sharing and remembering Chris and just reflecting back on memories. We have David here. He's going to start us off into prayer. So David, anytime you're ready.
Chris Hallett was a wonderful man. He sure was. Devoted to his kids, devoted to his family, devoted to doing good. And I think that is the power that we have on the inside to accomplish whatever is on our heart to accomplish, is if we stand in that spirit of doing good at all times with whatever we're doing. And let's just ask God for his protection and his guidance for as we move forward. Our Father in heaven, you are the author of life. You are the only hope that we have to come to conclusion as to why we're here and what we're trying to accomplish. We know that we're in your hand of love. We know that you are our existence, for without you we would not have existence in life. We ask that your hand of blessing on us as we move forward, teaching and learning from one another, and moving forward to have a productive and a society that's worth living in. Help us to make the changes, help us organize together. And we're doing this on an occasion right now. We know that you're embracing Chris Hallett right now as he's with you. And we just want to thank you for all your blessings. And if we draw nigh to you.
Oh, Kim, I can tell you there's no sympathy over here. I mean, I don't know that I've been just straight trashing Chris Hallett, but I mean, he's a scumbag who's taken advantage of a lot of people and helped create the very situation that killed him. So if you think I'm going to show any sympathy towards all of this fucking nonsense, you are not in the right place, like, at all.
You will draw nigh to us. Teach us and guide us. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. That was wonderful, David. Thank you so much. I don't know who wants to start with what's they want to share with Chris and what they remember the most. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of issue over here with my daughter walking in and getting caught off guard. I don't know. How do you guys want to? What was your first memory of Chris? How did you?
I didn't get to watch the beginning of this. I don't even care to watch it, but whatever. Like I said, I want this just to have it in case it's deleted, anything like that. At the end, though, they say some interesting stuff.
Come to find out about Chris and join.
Okay. Well, I'll go first with that. I was introduced to E-Clause in general from Brianna out of Oregon. Some of you may know her. She's awesome. And what I found interesting is after she turned me on to Chris, she would only come on the calls like intermittently, but I was on like when it was Mondays only, when it was Monday, Wednesday, when they added Friday. It was like I was on everything. And one of the things that I knew from the very beginning was that he absolutely knew the law.
It's not bad. It's right about an hour.
He absolutely knew the loss prevention side of it. And I was very impressed by that. But what sticks with me the most is what I said when I first got on the call, which is his yuck yuck laugh, especially when he got the new mic.
I know.
And I was like, whoa, check out Chris's booming new voice.
I know. He used to do that all the time to me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It was the voice, and it's so funny because when he first got it, that's all everybody could talk about. Like, whoa, Chris sounds like a music, like a radio, nighttime.
This is Chris's girlfriend. I don't know how long they were even together. She's apparently been staying at his house and apparently still is staying at the house and now is apparently taking over E-Clause. Like, I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of great things about her. I understand she was a witness the night of the murder. That's why I've kind of stayed away from her in general. But like the last 10 minutes or so of this live that I caught, I didn't like what I heard. So that's why now, yes, I did. Seneca, I've seen that. You and your microphone. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I want to start keeping an eye on them before they do try and start this ridiculous shit back up. I know this Malika that's on there. Malika's pretty nuts. She has very strong sovereign beliefs. She's connected with this whole little sovereign group. So yeah, I don't know, man. I honestly, I'm just kind of I'm at a loss of words with them trying to still do this crazy shit. But whatever. Let's see what they have to say.
Sexy song. Like, you know,
Yeah, Barry White, I think, is what we used to say all the time.
so there's this guy that's in Florida. His name is Teddy Cruz. When I was growing up, he used to be the DJ coming on at like around 9 o'clock. He had a Hispanic Latin accent, but other than that, his voice had a bass like Chris. So every time he got on that mic, that was it. But that's what I wanted to share. It's one of my first memories of Chris.
Anybody else want to share how they connected with Chris?
This is Lori. I came across Chris through Valerie. She found some E-Clause videos, and then she found the Kirk's Law Corner platform. And first thing I connected with Chris was just his down-to-earth, brother-like mentality. Everything was fun. And because of that, and being a fellow Buckeye, I just resonated with him right away. And to see how he just made it so simple to say, wow, they all made the government, all these private corporations, but they never implemented loss prevention. No wonder we're looking at the chaos we're looking at right now.
I do, on a side note, have a Chris's video queued up here. Or I mean, Kirk's video. I'll see if you guys want to listen to some of the stuff he spewed out on Monday when we're done with this. I've been told that Kirk is stepping away for a minute, though. So I think now, quite possibly, Kirk is trying to get away from the E-Clause name. That's what I was told. I don't know if that's true, though.
And
yes, there is a GoFundMe, and then also before the GoFundMe, Shannon was saying to just donate to this PayPal. So I don't even know. They started doing that pretty quick.
I miss him terribly. He was a great teacher, great mentor, answered every text, every email, oversighted everything I was doing. And I just wanted him to know, and I don't think he knew how much of an impact he made on not only my life, but many people out there who were shocked by what happened unjustly. And I just wanted everybody to know that I'm very impacted by the loss of a great man. And I wanted him to know, and everyone to know, that I loved him very much and still do, and miss him greatly. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Wait, oh my God, we're gonna cry after everyone says something. This is
Well, this is Valerie. I caught one of his first shows on YouTube, and I don't know how I came across him, but when I saw his white chalkboard in the back and bad lighting, but looked like great content, I said, I'm going to listen to this guy, and commented on the first video that I watched of his, and then said, I'm going to learn everything that you've got up, and commented, and he returned the comment. I think that's vital with the contact that he made with, whether they were people who were new or whether they were people who were familiar in court or in any kind of law situation. I think most people loved his different avenue that he was coming from.
On staying in the house, I have no clue. I've actually wondered that myself, Kim. I have no clue. This is just a weird situation all around.
Which was loss prevention. And most of us didn't view, well, there were none of us that actually viewed it the way that he viewed it, which was practical and logical and taking us back to the beginning when this was all created. And I think the jokes and the humor and the laughter and even the seriousness that he had when when he was explaining the easiest way that he could in layman terms. So I actually enjoyed his accents, and he was like a brother I never had. I don't have any brothers. So it was great. He responded to every question I ever had for him. And that in somebody's busy day, and it was usually within the day or the following day. And you don't see that. You don't see anybody who takes.
I did just see this comment from Susie Patrick, which this screenshot was actually sent to me. We love Chris very much. We will miss him terribly. He will never know how much he helped us. We will be filing our remonstrance soon. Without Chris, it would not be possible. It would be a tribute to him. This fucking remonstrance nonsense, like, this is sovereign shit. I actually had this pulled up because I was sent this screenshot, and I wanted to look for that. If you don't know what a remonstrance is, don't feel bad about that, because it was not used in the American government at any fucking point of time. When John Gentry, who used to be part of this nonsense, and then something happened where he like tried to blow Kirk or some shit like that. That's like the rumor that went around between them. John Gentry tried to enter this. This is actually from that. And Senator John Stevens said, "You have grossly misunderstood the historical and practical implications of remonstrance. Further, you have misread our rules and Constitution. You have no constitutional right to present to the General Assembly your remonstrance. Our rules apply to the member of the General Assembly." And underneath that, a little explanation of that. Petitioner well understands historical and practical implications of remonstrance. The right of petition arises from the 1215 Magna Carta. 450 years later, in 1669, the House of Commons resolved that every commoner in England possessed the inherent right to prepare and present petitions to it in case of grievance. In 1791, Amendment 1 was added to the U.S. Constitution, stating Congress shall make no law abridging the right of the people to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Affirmed in the Cruikshank and Hague cases from the 1830 to 1840 petitions against slavery overwhelmed Congress until the House adopted a rule prohibiting anti-slavery petitions, repealed 5 years later at the urging of John Quincy Adams, which that has nothing to do with the fact that these guys are trying to pull something from the 1215 Magna Carta and establish it in 2020 America. This is typical sovereign nonsense. And one of the biggest things about sovereigns, one of the last things that I think it might have been one of the FBI definitions that I really did like, that definition of how they put it. These guys are talking about laws and referring to a form of the American government that never existed, like at any point of time. So if you add, that's why they pull from like all these different years where there wasn't even an America yet. There's no logic to it. There's no sense to it. And they aren't referring to anything that existed in this country. And that's how you can tell if it's a sovereign law that isn't going to work. And that's why the courts have no fucking clue what to do with this stuff, because it's nonsense. I've been using the term legal theory very, very carefully, because it's definitely pushing the line of legal theory. But like, this Susie Patrick person is going to file a remonstrance and find out that's a really stupid idea very soon. But again, Chris Hallett's the same guy that in January a federal judge told him that he was not going to entertain his fantasy that he was working behest of the president, because he wasn't. And so, I mean, it's insanity.
The time out to make that kind of impact in not just one or two or three, but many. And there will be a lot of people that skew all of this information. But it's when you set aside what you think you know and look into the law that was laid down before we invited anybody to take a seat, not these code statutes, rules, regulations, ordinances, or mandates. But he made it fun, and it was just, he's missed beyond measure. He was taken too quickly, and this was just a senseless act. And I think that He's laid out a very good legacy. But his presence, nobody got it like him. I mean, this was coming up on his third year, and he was getting real comfortable, and, it was just, you could see it. You could see the growth in not just him, but the people that were joining from the research that they've done. So I don't want to take any more time, because I know there are other people who'd like to speak, but I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to know him or chat with him online. And I'm grateful that I thanked him for the time that he took to put the PowerPoints up, or to tell him that I appreciated the time that he put in to what he does, because that certainly is the most valuable asset that we have, one that is irreplaceable. We can always get more things and make more money, or doll hairs or FRNs, but we can't replace the time that we have. And he gave his time greatly to
rip off desperate parents with nonsensical laws. Such a fucking hero.
To a passion of truth, law, and justice, and not the system that we refer to as just us. But it was great, and I yield.
Yeah, a while back started listening to Field McConnell from time to time, and then I tuned back in when I heard that he was arrested. I was watching his station, and Kirk was on there, and then he started talking about the real law, and I was like, wow, this is really amazing, and it just kind of got me hooked. And then from there, I seen Chris.
So you got Field McConnell and Kirk Pendergrass talking about the real law. And remind you, this is the same Field McConnell that was extradited to Florida from, Wisconsin, and is currently waiting to go to trial for harassing Kim Picasio, a lawyer in Florida, who another lunatic, Timothy Charles Homeseth, has harassed for over a decade and just accused her of trafficking children to Ukraine with no evidence whatsoever. So yeah, Field's about to go into jail for that, and Chris and Kirk were actually supposed to stop Field from being extradited to Florida with their real law, but that didn't happen ever, which is super weird.
On his show, and then I remember him pointing to the wall and saying, "There's my bar card." So I always thought he was a bar lawyer. And he was just a gift for teaching, and just a great speaker, very good teaching. He kept you very interested in what he was putting on the table. It was like, wow, I was just blown away. He was so missed. I am still in shock from it. I yield.
Thank you, Tricia.
I yield. Jesus Christ.
Well, if you don't mind me following that up, this is the other Tricia.
Okay, go ahead.
And I guess I happenstancely fumbled upon, probably one of the best and greatest minds I've ever found, which is Chris's. I think I was inadvertently pushed down the CPS rabbit hole, and in doing so and beginning unbelievable amounts of research, it inevitably landed on how he was showing that everything is.
Is Tim still go? I haven't checked on Timothy recently. Maybe we'll pop by Kirk's live at Tim's channel if you guys want to after this. I don't know. Maybe even a little later we'll just go through Timmy's channel as a whole on a different live. I haven't checked on old Mr. Homeseth for a couple weeks.
Starry-eyed deceases, and we're in this maritime admiralty jurisdiction. And I was like, that's exactly what we're going through. How are we going to fix this? And to lay it out, piece by piece and step by step, so easy that maybe Grandma could do it, that even, I felt I could do it. I've had conversations with him, and I was to the point I said, I'm practically plagiarizing you at this point. And he was fine with that. He's like,
Right.
just keep going and keep trying. And I think in a few conversations, I'm like, well, what if I make it worse? And both of them were saying, you can't make it any worse. Do something, follow an avenue. And then eventually, as I'm fighting with the Office of Children and Family Services and putting a remonstrance against her, he came back with a very awesome email and just said that I had it laid out properly. Your format's good.
The remonstrance. I don't know why they're fucking obsessed with remonstrances. And John Gentry's remonstrance, I actually did read some of John Gentry's remonstrance against Tennessee, and it was ridiculous. He was like naming things that happened in Florida that had absolutely nothing to do with Tennessee, which is common with these guys. And in most of Chris Hallett's court rulings, the court even says that he's very unclear. He's not even making points that are relevant whatsoever. And like John Gentry, even though he was trying to take out the Tennessee bar, was off talking about things that were happening in Florida. So it's very confused and just not. It's so bizarre, but it's been interesting to watch overall.
On the right page. And that was enough of a breadcrumb to just say, I'm going to keep following this. I am going to go until I can't go anymore for these kids and to fix this broken system and to try and find some sort of balance, if you will.
Jurisdiction!
And he was, I attest the same as everybody else, that he was always there with an encouraging ear. And any question you had was promptly answered. And I'm very thankful to even have had the opportunity to meet him, if you will, electronically, and in person would have been real nice eventually too. But thank you for everything you've done too, Shannon, and everyone else on the call.
Thank you, Tricia. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Yeah, it's very devastating. Does anybody want to go else? I'm trying to wait till last.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Deborah Joe, I'm so glad I caught your live stream. I was so looking forward to taking class, trying to catch up to you all. That's one thing. They had I believe they have a private Zoom things, and I think that's where you'll give donations and shit like that to learn all of this nonsense garbage. I was learning, taking steps, and then he would pull out the damn math chart and I get lost in the weeds because, yeah, they think math is the law. They're not quite as far out there as some of the others that do the quantum grammar language shit. That's a whole nother thing. We've done a live or two on those before, but at some point we'll probably go look at some of the quantum grammar kiddos again, like Mitch Smith and shit. I found you through Fields' channel. So another person, I found you through Fields' channel, and love and respect you all for your work. All of us, God be with you all.
Okay, this is Lizette. And I knew Chris by things that he had gone over, and because I was blessed enough to have followed him because of my family, and found out about him. And there were a lot of things that we had in common. He was an absolute phenomenal humanitarian. He could see things from your side, his side, the law side, the other side, and put everything into balance. It was so easy.
TPR, that's termination of parental rights. So yeah, because with this sovereign group, the different sovereign groups focus on different things. Some of them do crime stuff, you got arrested for whatever, and they'll tell you how to get out of your charges. Some of them do bankruptcy stuff, and they'll tell you how to get past your bankruptcy, and it's all nonsense. But this group for the most part will do a little bit of everything. If you have money for donations, they'll claim they can get you out of whatever, but this group's always focused on CPS cases and desperate parents to basically scam them out of money and fuck their case all up. A perfect example of that is Arlena Willis, which like we did 2 lives on that last night with this other idiot being an idiot. But yeah, so this group has really focused more on like the CPS side of things, but they're kind of all over the place because these are like also teachings from this guy David Straight, who claims to work directly for President Trump and Melania Trump with the Presidential Pedophile Task Force. And I've even talked to Homeland Security, and I mean, that thing doesn't exist. Oh, good, it's Laurel, you sack of shit. It's always nice when you show up, Laurel. I take it your family isn't talking to you for Thanksgiving still.
Easy talking to him personally so many times that we had spoken, but the solace that there was a solution to every problem, he was like, no, just this will work, and he'd point you to this area, and he's like, no, and we can do this, and you can investigate this, and no, I had something similar, so this can be done. All these procedures. It was the point of
Laurel, you really think that David Straight is Trump's right-hand man? You are 100% insane, as insane as all of us think you are.
not only understanding, but saying that it was okay because at least we were learning the things and the processes the way we should have been taught when these processes came out. I mean, throughout our lives, unfortunately, it was what it was because we know what we know now. And he touched many people. He was very kind-hearted. His remarks, his kindness, his understanding, even through, text messages, emails, phone calls. He was honestly pushing everyone to be better one day at a time. Well, really 3 days a week, which is truly missed because I'm still in disbelief. And I know his spirit has touched all of us now. And when he started, and it will go on to touch many people will learn so many things, the things that we've learned, excuse me, through this process. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's, he was a sweet soul. He was amazing. He made everyone really like him, and hashtag shit made up. Yeah.
The link is bogus.
I've got somebody writing something right now.
I also want to
give me 5 more minutes. Just have discussion. Give me 5 more minutes, Shannon.
Okay.
I also want to say that no one that's watching this is ever going to forget Chris.
No.
His stuff
Absolutely.
is in all of my paperwork. Every single template I have has Chris's stuff in it. I have used Chris's stuff to get two people out of jail, and also to keep them from falling predator to probation, which is of course not an office in the Constitution. There's no such thing as a probation officer.
There is 100% such a thing as a probation officer. Do not believe that there is no such thing as a probation officer, because you'll go to jail.
And so I just modify things that he's already put out, because that's the way he put them out. He put them out in templates, and the people who were self-starters and were able to read with comprehension could see clearly how they could use every single thing he put out, even his definitions. I would take screenshots. One of my favorite that he put out most recently was the definition of attorney, that talks about them being an alternative landlord. It's like, what? When you hire an attorney, you're basically saying, okay, I don't want that landlord, I want this.
Yeah, we were together. I was
An attorney is nothing like a landlord. That's I don't feel like I need to go into any further description on that. I normally like to try and stop their videos and correct any disinformation, but I'm fairly confident I don't need to tell you guys there's a difference between an attorney and a landlord. So we're just going to move along there.
oversighting someone's case in Ohio, and so I was researching the bar members and found out one of the bar members was on disciplinary action. And when I found the court paper, that's what it said. It was a relayer, and it was basically a realtor,
Yeah, somebody actually posted that today.
Yeah. So
they're like a realtor.
yeah.
And that's why the Federal Reserve has us listed as the real estate registered with the Department of Agriculture.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay, and that's like super sovereign stuff that goes into like the straw man theory, and that our birth certificates are contracts with foreign countries and whatnot based off what we could possibly earn for them, and they sell those off and all this other garbage. None of that's true. None of it. This is garbage.
I'm oversighting an attorney, and his wife is a judge now, but they used to be both assistant attorneys out of the same office before she was appointed to judge. And her husband goes around and steals people's properties through sheriff deeds and tax deeds. And
his wife is just going to be like, if you challenge it, overruled.
So what he has is he rescinded his corporation aspect of his law firm, but he still has a bar member license, but he's registered as
Mark, that's actually a good question. Could Kirk be facing RICO charges when all is said and done? I'm talking months and months from now. G-Man come looking for people. Like, honestly, I don't know why the law still hasn't stepped in at this point, aside from it is confusing, and so that could be taking a minute to put everything together. This murder did make mainstream media. I believe it even made some international news. So I would lean towards most likely, I could see like a RICO type case, because you're talking about a web of people. You're talking about David Strait, Kirk, Field McConnell, Chris Hallett, to a degree John Gentry, to a degree Francesca Amato. So you're talking about a group of con men that are basically on the verge of, if not at times, actually practicing illegal law. And like Chris and Kirk were claiming that they were auditors on behalf of the government. Field claims that he's one man away from the president, which is David Strait, who claims he's working for the president. So at some point, like, you can't do that. You can't run around just saying that you work for the government and getting people to donate you cash for bullshit legal advice. This is a group. I would lean towards yes. Most likely yes, but I think it's going to take a minute to just web everything together. But I don't know. It also depends, like with Chris, what happened? Did they get any computers and shit from there? With Field, do they have communications from there? Are they looking at these different communications? Kim, I wish I had an answer. Kim said, why the hell would she keep the scam going when it didn't work for anyone? Makes no sense. I don't know. I still at this point have not actually developed any kind of words for this. Like, I don't know. I don't know why they'd be trying to do this. Yeah, I'm with Timothy Homeseth. That's David Strait as well. They're all connected. They're all doing the same shit. And then Tim and Field were doing the Children's Crusade, where they were getting donations for the Children's Crusade, where people thought they were saving children from tunnels and shit. So I mean, this has been a pretty long ongoing scam. And then Timothy Homeseth got to the point where his conspiracy bullshit was passed all throughout the Q groups and the mole kids, and this secret battle against the pedophiles underneath the country where they were rescuing all these kids. I don't even know. That is true too. Sharp, that is super true. David Jose did not get his children back. He said that he got his children back in a tribunal, which I imagine one of their little nonsensical imaginary tribunals did give his children back. But the thing is that those aren't real. And so that meant nothing. That's why you don't see pictures of him posting, or pictures of him with his children and shit. And like with his stepdaughter that he either pistol whipped or put a gun in her mouth. Remind you.
Broker, a real estate broker, which that's how they're supposed to all be registered. If they're acting in the sense of their crap made up, why do you need 2 licenses? You know?
Well, because one is a business license and the other one's just a certification that says you can rob people in court.
Right. Well, we know it's all shit made up anyway. So.
Yeah, but it makes sense. Like, you ask the question, why do you need 2 licenses? But it's like, wait a minute. If one of them is not actually a license,
right,
that's why it appears that you need 2.
Yeah. To try to validate what you're doing.
Exactly. You're covering the shoe with a thin
Right.
layer of a real business license.
Right.
But yeah, he's all over my paperwork, and I like every time someone.
Another interesting comment, Lori Cole. Chris said to me once he turned me into a monster. With his final key, I needed to be able to handle my own civic administrative duties, which is where to redress our grievances and how a republic is to work according to loss protection from a corporate setting, which is what American people are left to do, to pierce the corporate veil and rot out these monopolies from our republic. Which that goes back to the sovereign ideologies that the American government is a private corporation. And Chris and Kirk both have used random... Oh, I see that, Davian. Okay. Actually, here, I'll copy that. Maybe we will call Auntie in a minute. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I just saw Auntie Perrick's number in the comments. So we might call Auntie here in just a little bit, just for the joy of it. Yeah, America's a private corporation, and Chris and Kirk both, they claim that these executive orders that were going out against, or just executive orders that somehow spoke to them, and I don't know. Like, one of the things that Kirk's talking about in this video, which we'll probably go ahead and play that part where he says that we're going back to 1776 and all this other crazy shit. It's based off an executive order that's talking about our education system, and somehow Kirk has morphed it into this thing where we're like taking the whole country back to 1776. How long ago was the video that I'm playing? It was 2 hours ago. Like, this was just posted. I caught the end of it. I made sure to save a copy in case they deleted it. And then I decided to just do this live so that I got it on the channel and the page and everything for reference and all that good stuff.
Something, and I go to pull up a template. I'm like, oh my God, there goes Chris right here. He's right here. He's like, I got you back. Like, you know, just awesome.
It is.
And I also want to speak to the people that are saying like, oh, he was telling people things that were not helpful to them. And the way that I learn stuff, it's never like someone's giving you this complete thing that you could just sign and just put in any case. You have to know, which is why he invested so much of his life. I mean, I thought this man was insane when he would do this 2-hour plus show.
None of them have looked distraught. Kirk went on the day after the murder talking about the deep state. I mean, that's like all these people are just fake as shit with each other.
and then have this after hour, you know, conversation with people. You can just ask him anything. Like, who does that? That's
Right.
You know, you cannot. I don't care what other mistakes that he might have done in his life. You cannot knock someone who does stuff like that.
Right.
You just can't.
Amen to that one.
Right.
God, that one again.
And
Is she talking?
I agree, Malika. You know, I see what's going on out here, and I see people claiming to be God and Christian-like, and what I'm seeing.
Does anyone know why Shannon lost her house? Was it refusal to make payments like Field McConnell? Off the top of my head, I could imagine that. Again, I really had not. I tried to stay away from Shannon just because of her being a witness and all that good shit. I tried to leave her be. But I don't like that now she's going live tonight saying that she's going to keep this shit going. So I don't know. I imagine I'll probably look a little bit more into who the fuck she is and why she would even be trying to keep this going.
It's not Christian-like at all. Christians don't conduct themselves in this way. I don't care. You know, it's just unnecessary, and it will be dealt with accordingly. So, Jamie, are you ready?
Okay. Oh, this is hard.
I know. I'm here. We're all here.
So I started talking to Chris a little over 2 years ago. Wonderful, wonderful, brilliant man. I've never had any.
Shannon refused to make payments and wanted to cash in her birth certificate. And that came from Linda. I normally trust what Linda has to say. Linda's been around and paying attention for a while, so I normally trust what Linda has to say.
Conflicts, or he's such a joy to talk to. Even when you're in a bad mood and you just want to let it out, Chris was the one to call. He would turn that frown upside down so fast.
That yuck laugh.
Yes. Oh, it's so. Yes, he is a man you couldn't help but to love. I have the honor.
This is interesting because Kirk just last week said that they didn't deal with CPS or anything, and then you got a comment from Kayla Lynn Rose Shepherd here that says, isn't that what Chris always said before he got into fighting parents against, or got into fighting with parents against CPS, and he was a real estate broker? Question mark. Sorry, it's been a couple years since I attended any of the videos. That's real funny because Kirk was just claiming that they never got involved in CPS cases, shit like that.
Honors that not most people have, but a couple weeks ago we called and left me a voicemail. So I get to listen to that every once in a while. So that's pretty special. He even called me the day before he left us to wish me a happy birthday. He's a special man. He was. I guess I just don't know what to say. He's a wonderful man.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Well, is there anybody else that didn't get to speak, or?
I'm not sure if I just saw that. Did Field McConnell actually lose his home in Wisconsin? I'm not sure if he did end up losing it. I know at one point I had heard that Randy Q. Erickson was getting ready to loan him the money he needed. I think it was something like 60 grand or some shit like that. I don't know if he ended up losing the house or not, though, especially since he is in Florida waiting to go to trial and has been banned from being online, like basically using any communications at all.
Say anything, or?
I'll say something real quick.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to join the shows a lot, but just knowing and being able to see him 3 days a week, 2 hours at a time, and then again, as you say, the after-hour call. I was like, when does this guy sleep? Bless his heart. I mean, and he was just a giver of time and gave of himself a lot. And you could genuinely see that in him. And his laugh, it just cracks you up and doing the shipmate up and everything. So it's just, I just loved hearing his Hallett-isms. I'll do his Hallett-isms. Yeah. So, and again, I agree with everyone. He touched everyone's lives. He was a kind man, and
Claws After Dark.
Gave of everyone, and mainly of himself, and helped others to help themselves, and to go over the paperwork and raise up people like you and Malika and Val and Lori and everybody like that. So, and I know a lot of y'all had that information before, and just he tied a lot of loose ends up for people, is what I've heard and everything. So, and added that other aspect as the as what Val said earlier.
I don't think any of these people knew him in person, aside from Shannon. These are all just like people that were listening to his sovereign bullshit online.
The loss prevention part of it. So anyway, my heart just, I'm still in shock, and my heart goes out to you and the family, and my heartfelt condolences to you all. Great man.
Seamus Highland, we have to carry on his work. Like, Jesus Christ.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Shannon, one more thing. I can still sit here and hear him say, "That's my girls."
Right. Yeah. He thought of us all that way, you know. He cared for all of us like
this is just
we were his
weird.
daughters, and you know, he felt the weight of everybody, that he felt like he had to carry that, and he gave us a lot of knowledge, a lot of security, and hope and unity, and it's a great loss. I remember when this first happened, and that was one of the things that just kind of hit me. It was like no one realized the significance of what Chris is.
Yeah, for anybody that's just coming on, this was just done like 2 hours ago. This is Chris Hallett's girlfriend, who was at the house when he was murdered by allegedly Neely Patrice Blanchard, one of the clients that also kidnapped her children back in March, had kidnapped her children before that. This is his girlfriend, who now, according to this live stream, is going to try and keep E-Claws going for whatever reason, which is really fucking weird, and that's why I wanted to get this video up and just make sure that I had it on the channel and on the page. And yes, Sharp, as of right now, it's believed she's still in the house in Ocala. I don't know, man. This is just weird. It's weird all around.
It's done yet. No one knew. I knew. Only certain people knew what Chris had just filed. And I can't wait for it to be unsealed. And
she's talking about nobody knows what Chris just filed but her, but it doesn't matter what he filed because it was nonsense. Everything he filed was nonsense. Again, in January, a federal judge told him he was not going to entertain his fantasy that he was working behest of the President of the United States. Like, straight up called Chris Hallett's claims a fantasy. Said he wasn't even fucking with it. Get out of my courtroom. You are not under order from the president. Get out of here. So, and again, we've talked about this many times. You can file whatever. It doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing. I can file something against every government agency in the country right now, and that doesn't mean anything, because if it's nonsensical filings, it's just going to be thrown out. But these scumbag scam artists like Chris Hallett, Kirk Pendergrass, David Jose, Francesca Amato, they'll show these things where they filed, and people that aren't educated enough in the law and see this shit, they're like, yeah, that fucking works. It doesn't work. It's just a filing. It means nothing. Your case hasn't gone anywhere. They can't show any of the actual victories from this nonsense that they're filing.
For everyone to be able to find out and know what was applied and what's going to continue to go forward and how much Chris has done. Chris it joined into like 100 land transactions here that Disney was trying to steal the property away from these homeowners that Disney bought long time ago. And I remember right before this happened, Chris's mom called and she was getting in his ear, and I'm like, well, what was that about? And he goes, well, she stumbled across the 100 land contracts that I had joined into. He said, oh, okay. So she's finally getting and understanding what you've done and applied. And I said, did she find out that it connected to the Disney aspect? He said, no, with the biggest smile. And I asked him, I said, are you waiting for that phone call? And he said, yeah. It was, the dynamic between Chris's mom and him, very interesting. And most people did not know the intimacy of that.
Oh, I don't think like Chris and Kirk ever talked about the judge throwing his case out and telling him it was a fantasy that he wasn't entertaining. I don't think they wanted to talk about that part of whatever nonsense that was that he filed.
But they were always, outschooling each other, basically.
I believe that one is in regards to the Florida Department of Revenue lawsuit, which also Chris Hallett has filed lawsuits claiming that he wanted, I think it was $37 million because he wasn't paying his child support. And so for some reason it was the court's fault, and he wanted $37 million from the court because people were calling him a deadbeat dad, which that didn't work either. I believe that was Chris Hallett versus Ohio back in 2016. And all this stuff, I mean, you can look this stuff up. You can find this stuff. It's out there. But yeah, he was wanting like $37 million for being called a deadbeat dad for not paying his child support. And in that one, that was where the court said that his claims were, it didn't make sense. He failed to basically do anything that you're supposed to do, and the court even gave him a second chance to put his argument together, and he still failed to put his argument together in any sort of comprehensible way. Like, he just was like, you guys owe me $37 million because I'm not paying my child support.
Chris is smart. His mom's pretty smart too. So, and she wants to play along and research. And so now she's finding out all of this stuff. And,
I'm so glad he was.
That's some of the stuff that I wanted on this live. Because they also talked about some weird shit at the end. So apparently now Chris Hallett's mom wants in on this.
Able to file it before.
Malika, you have no idea. I kept telling
him. He just put a period on something, and then he left.
I was telling him, Malika.
John Anderson's still in jail, though.
God, I mean, that's like the only relief I have. Like,
dude, I was telling him he wanted to take more time in his process, like he does, and and I was like. Oh, God was telling me, I was like, we're running out of time.
Oh my
we're,
God.
you know, this is of essence. We cannot wait. And I had to put my foot up his butt so it could be done in the time that it was.
Oh,
I wonder if that's how she's still in the house. If she's like latching on to Chris Hallett's mom, which I would hope not. That's a pretty disgusting thing. Because, like, regardless of any of this stuff, that was still her kid. So right now, bombarding her with this sovereign bullshit is really, like, I don't know.
been a mess if he waited. Obviously, even if he waited like 3-4 more days, it would have just been incomplete, and then we would have been still screwed. So, thank you, Chris Hallett. Thank you.
Yes.
Shannon,
I thanked him that he was listening to me.
I don't know what size your feet are, but womanly
My manly firmness 6. Yeah, I had a.
I don't know for sure on the Chris's mom thing. I'm pretty sure that Chris's mom lives there. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. I was hoping this was going to stay more of just Neely, Chris, and possibly Kirk and other things coming in. I really did not see this curveball of weird bullshit coming, and I was hoping that this sort of weird bullshit curveball did not come, because this shit's fucking time consuming and exhausting. But these people are really, I mean, they're fucking dangerous. We got multiple kidnappings, we got parents getting ripped off, now we got a fucking murder. Like, this shit isn't cute. But I was hoping that it wasn't going to take this weird curveball.
Kind of do that a little bit to get him.
That's what every strong man needs. Yeah, some woman.
Yes. Most people don't realize me and Chris were talking for a significant amount of time. Most people didn't realize that I had came down here and I was staying with Chris, and that we had decided that we were going to be in a relationship together. We chose to keep it away from the platform because with already what has transpired in the past with people and their animosity and attacking and all the dynamics, I didn't want to be a part of that, and I did not want Chris to have to deal with that because the level of drama in the
Lily, you got a good point. I would have to look a little bit more into it, but I would imagine currently she probably does have some sort of squatter rights in Florida. I'm not super familiar with Florida squatter rights. But some pretty weird shit goes on in Florida. I used to live in Florida. But yeah, and she was working with it. Like, I don't know.
everything was so high already.
I've seen that as well, that at some point Shannon was in a relationship with Kirk and there was bad blood between all three of them because of that, and like that had something to do with Kirk and Hallett starting to kind of get into disagreements and shit. But you know, all of that stuff is things I was really hoping we didn't ever have to touch. I was really hoping this was going to stay more focused on the murder and not these guys trying to use this situation to restart this scam.
And when the seal came undone and we got the paperwork back, we were going to do a live Zoom and kind of express and tell that. And people don't realize that Chris viewed me as a wife. He wanted me to marry him, and he wanted me to have a baby for him. And my oldest is almost 17, and you know, it's a lot to have another baby at my age, and you know, but he didn't know that I was rethinking it because I was in love with Chris as a friend. I appreciated him from the very beginning when I came on the platform, and you can see that in the live streams and my comments. And And it was a process to get Chris to open up, to be able to understand he deserved to be with someone that appreciated him and loved him and be happy. And so when he finally, you know, went through and processed for himself and accepted that, you know, he wanted to be with me, it was just beautiful, you guys. I made him happy in every way. We never had a fight. We sat back in awe a lot because of what was going on, and he was witnessing what God was showing me and pointing me to the direction and how my peace and his peace fit together.
I'm not buying any of this shit. That's just my opinion.
All you can ask for in a partner is someone that gives you trust and security and makes you feel like you're at home. And Chris gave all of those things to me. And I wasn't here physically with him for a very long time in his home. So this is very devastating. I feel like I'm widowed. I'm mourning. And the most devastating thing is I had warned him, and I did not want Neely in the house no more. So for this all to happen, it's just very devastating and very selfish of a lot of people.
Well, that's hard to do because Chris had told Neely she was an agent of E-Claws and that she was protected from the courts by E-Claws and even federal, the bullshit that led her kidnapping her kid. So you can't just really kick her to the curb after that, seeing that, she was indicted for that kidnapping just not even a week prior to the shooting. Jesus Christ.
It's not just about Neely. You truly get to see the evil of people and how it doesn't matter to them what the truth is. And they get enjoyment out of spreading and defaming and intimidating a witness. Yeah. We have some issues, and they will be dealt with appropriately. And it's just shameful as I'm watching that nobody else came up and did a memorial like this. Just mentioning Chris and his passing as a nonchalant, let's move on, doesn't do justice for what this man dedicated. And most people...
Lori Cole, and he did get what he deserved in having that love with you, someone who loved his work and worked with him as much as you both did. We saw it develop online with your interactions, a friendship that blossomed from admiration and work ethics to love. So yeah, she was helping him with his scam shit.
People don't even understand that he was doing and working on this way before he established E-Claws. So this man lived by himself. He had not been in a relationship for the past 12 years. So he was trying to protect his family. He knew that there was a cost, a risk with what he was doing, and he didn't want anyone else to get hurt if something did happen. So I'm just appreciative that I could bring this man.
Chris was born in 1792.
Some happiness and pleasure and all that a woman could bring to a man, you know,
deserved it.
Before his life was taken from us. So I get the joy out of knowing and seeing that he was happy. He bought matching robes for all three of us, me, my daughter, and him. He put his and hers on our headphone slots for off of the desk. He wanted to put husband and wife, and I was like, oh no, do not do that. We don't believe in marriage contracts. So,
Well, I can testify, Shannon, that he was very in love, and he was so really happy the past 3 months because things were changing so fast, and you could see even in the last shows how elated, how if you watch a couple from like last year and then watch the recent ones, you can see how his face expressions changed, his body language, you could see that besides me knowing that you guys were in a relationship, you could see that things were happening, and he was more giddy than normal, and he would giggle more, and he would act silly, and
I mean, Taylor, they're not supposed to be doing any of this. None of them give a fuck. But yeah, actually, that was a good catch, Lola. They're saying it was like 3 months. If I was dating someone for 3 months and they were murdered, I don't think I would just be posting up in their house and taking over their fraudulent sovereign citizen fucking company. Like, this doesn't make sense at all. This is getting really fucking weird.
More yuck yuck. More yuck yuck.
So those are the things that I know that all of us who knew him, like, knew something was going on. I mean, I had a different relationship with Chris in that context that, I'm not saying that we talked every single day, but when we talked, it was for hours. And we just went into different details about different things, but I knew him on a personal level, and he was amazing. And you could see that he was really happy. So, that's another thing. Thanks, Shannon. From all the people that loved him, he had somebody that truly loved him for who he was. His beautiful mind. No. And everything else, his character, his sense of humor, his even doubting, things, and how he would giggle in nervous giggles, like when some awkward things would, happen or transpire, or things would be read, or, he was so down to earth. He was
Kennedy, there's like a whole little group that's on this thing. I don't fucking know.
Like everybody's brother. He looked at us like sisters, aunts, maybe daughters. I don't know. We all have issues. I know I got a billion, but he was a wonderful guy, and I just wanted to testify that, the past 4 months, because things are changing so fast, the past 3 months, you could see things were, you could see all the energies change. You could see it in his face. So, thanks a lot. For real. From all of us who truly loved him, not only as a friend, but a mentor. I'm honored to have had him in all the things that I've learned. And now I'm going to have to go back and watch old videos. I did the other day, but he's truly missed.
Yes, he will definitely be missed for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, they did this They did this on Facebook Live in the eClaws LLC group. Now going on 3 hours ago, but like 2 hours ago, or an hour and a half-ish or so before I started this live. They basically finished and I set up this live.
And yeah.
Did anybody else get him to mail them their book? I don't know if anybody else on the call watching or participating got their book, but I had a joke to tell him about getting the book because it came with his name on it, and I took and I forgot my apartment number. So my husband's like,
it's super creepy, but like I said, I watched. I mean, yeah, I feel you, Lila, but there's been a few things like talking about his mom and shit, but like the last 10 minutes she says some stuff, and I'm not even gonna say what it is, but I caught the end of this, and I'm just going to let it play because I don't know what all these idiots said during this. But I do want all of this just in case it's ever deleted or anything.
Like, what? How the heck did this even get here? Whatever it was, because he knew it was a book, but just by the feel of it, but he didn't understand why it was there. So he had it sitting in his office, and I'm telling Chris, like, it says delivered, but I don't know where it is. And so he says something back. Well, I was on the live, and my husband hears his name, and he's like, "Did you order a book?" And I'm like, how the hell is that even relevant right now? And he's like, "Oh, Chris Hallett." And I'm like, he said the book came with his name on it. It's been sitting in my office for 2 days. And I was going to give it back to the postman. And I was like, what? So I didn't get it until Friday, the Friday before. So I took a picture and I didn't get to share it with him. And it's sitting in my phone now. But I'll post it in the group.
No, this man went and drop shipped you a book, and I live with him, and he didn't even ask me if I want a book. So I'm like, you know what? That is not right. I'm like, so I'm just
gonna use. You're gonna use his.
I know, Shannon. I know, because remember on my birthday, he was all excited about my book coming to his house, and he was gonna bookmark it for me and everything. And here you sit, like, what? I'm right here.
Yeah, he was like, well, I just figured you would use my book, and I'm like, how am I gonna use your book if you got your book all the time? You're reading the whole thing from front to back. I'm like, I grabbed it when he first got it, and I'm like, okay, I'm only looking for three things that I know I'm looking for. So I did my thing, and I was like, bam, because he was like, oh, look here, and I'm like, no, something, it's here. So I flipped to it, because it was like the key thing was we were looking for statutes, because he had engaged them and put them on point to tell them that's got to get out of the Masons book when you put the new one out. So I'm like, okay, let's see. And sure enough, it right there, it was like, statues are out. They're out of the Masons book. And then we went and we realized other things had been taken out, and it was the rearranged piece, and I'm like, okay, good, I got what I need. And then I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna order my own book and the digital copy, so I don't like me now.
And I told him I wanted the digital copy too. You could. And I was like, I sent him for both. And then I was like, I'll just take the paper one, and, maybe we'll go over the PDF like in classes. That's what I thought we were going to do.
Yeah, they have it. You have to sign up and sign in individually, because they only authorize per one user.
Right.
He didn't have it set up yet as the vendor where he could do that. And I don't even know if they have it set up for vendors like that.
That's what he was telling me. So I sent him the whole thing, and then he's like, okay, we can't do that part. So I figured it's fine. We're just going to go over it in class. And so, of course, I think my book was probably delivered the same.
Which in the class thing is interesting. These guys should not be teaching any sort of law class. They never should have been. I don't even know. This is just fucking weird.
Same day his book was, but I didn't get it till a couple days later, so it might just be me and him right now, as far as a group. Or
no, I got the digital copy. They're sending the one to the house here, because I wanted it to go to the PO box, but they were like, we don't ship to POs. I'm like, oh great. I guess I have no choice. So, yeah, it should be here next day or two. But, as far as E-Clause goes, it's not going to go away. It's not going to die off. We just need a period of time so that we can address everything that needs to be addressed, and do the paperwork and all of that stuff. So, as soon as I can get authorization to divulge information further publicly, I will let everybody know what's going on. But I'm already looking at key people, you know, to bring in as part of the team that are actually legitimate and doing things and administrating. And a few of you guys are on here already.
So now Shannon is looking for key people to bring in to set this scam back up after Chris was killed.
Already talked to you guys. Malika, I would love if you could be a part of that. Trisha, a lot of you people that are on here actually. So if you guys want to talk to me about that in private afterwards when we're done, we can do that too. Somebody is sending me something they want me to read. Heather Brewer. She said, when I became friends with Chris in November 2017, and I had no idea of the impact he would make in my life and the lives of 13 children that are home now because of the information he was able to enrich us with. He was more than a mentor to me. He was more than a friend. He became part of my family, but he didn't just accept me as part of his surrogate family. As he loved and accepted so many of us as part of his family. I am struggling to wrap my head around this because I got to send him something funny every day. Or how many times I would say I'm exceeding my daily Chris questions. I know he is helping to guide us, but just really miss him already. He loved his kids and was trying to show them by example, by being present and not focusing on the past, but focusing on the present and pushing for the best future. I find comfort in knowing he felt close enough to be himself and with me and those who knew him aside from E-Claus. He will be unforgettable, irreplaceable, and forever missed. I thank his kids for sharing him with us. If they need anything, I pray they reach out to us. And she says, love you, buddy. Rest in peace. She's showing a screenshot. Oh, I think this is for me in private. Okay. I can attest to Heather's she is stating because Chris was always engaging her. She was always sending him funny stuff. Now
remember, again, Kirk said that they did not do CPS cases. That was his claim, just like this last week.
Memes, just making him laugh his butt off, and Chris just wanted me to be assured, you know, and I wasn't a jealous person like that, so it didn't bother me, you know, and he would show me all the time what she was sending, and we'd sit here and laugh about it and everything, and so I appreciate it, Heather, and I know Chris appreciated you and cared for you very much too. You had a place in his heart like so many did, and his kids are having a very hard time. So I just want to say thank you to them also, because his family has lost significantly. And nobody really realizes the dynamics of the situation. And so I want everyone to keep Chris's kids and his family in their prayers. And if you could help out to his GoFundMe, or you want to send them something, a message, you can get that to me if you're not connected to them, and I'll get that to them so they know. Me and Chris's son are going to be in constant contact. He needs help navigating all the information his dad has, and so he can put it together and stuff and get it out to us again. plans on trying to do all the live feeds and put them on the eClaws page, since someone was so graciously to unlink those live feeds to the eClaws page. So I just want to let you guys know we're working on things. It's just a devastating time, very unexpected, traumatic event for all of us. And it's going to take us time. We're not going to be able to just jump back up. And that would be rightfully so, because we have been impacted and there's paperwork that needs to be done, things that need to be gone through, process that still needs to happen. So I'm just kind of letting everybody know we're working on it, and don't give up faith and unity in what Chris created with eClaws. There's a lot of us that are not going to allow it to die out, and we use his documents. It's everywhere. So he will be going down in history. He will be a legacy. And
Right.
for those that don't realize it yet, they will eventually. It just takes a matter of time. So just
Let
wanna
me
say-
add just 1 second.
Yeah.
That everyone that did the process and that Chris touched, we are all his legacy right now. All of us. I mean, every single one of us, and we were blessed that he was guiding us. And now, you're right, he will go down in for many, 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 many people to come. Many.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Anybody else have anything to say? Been on here for about an
I
hour.
have a question. It's so funny. People are asking me questions like I know, like I'm managing anything for Chris. But
Right.
they want to know if the Patreon teachings are still going to be left available.
They are there. They have
It's actually here. Before she even answers that. Because that's like, I don't know if their Patreon will let me see it. Let's check real quick. Where is their Patreon? I'll see if I can find their Patreon.
froze the charging aspect of it, but the material is still accessible.
Okay.
So I don't know if new people can sign up or,
Right,
you know.
that was the question, I think. Like, if new
Yeah.
people can sign up, or is it just whoever was already on there is just grandfathered in?
Right. No, I don't know all the ins and outs of it.
Okay.
I could
I just
probably
wanted to
go
let you
and
know
look.
that. I'm not expecting you to have an answer necessarily, but I just want to let you know that people are asking
Yeah.
about that. And
I
so
could probably go and look if Chris's son didn't change the password and stuff, because Chris gave me full administrative account access and information.
See.
So I'll try to look at it and get back to you, Malika, about it. Or I'll just ask his son if he knows off the top of his head. But I think he's not very familiar with all this, you know, the platforms and stuff
right.
like that.
Plus the Patreon is kind of new.
Yeah, he's got to go through all of this stuff, you know, and figure all of this stuff out. You know what I mean? And so we're basically in a transitional period right now.
Everybody going through Chris's stuff is about to get not 3 years like attorneys, but like 4 or 5 years of education.
Right.
going
Yes.
through
Yes.
going through his basic stuff.
Yeah. So Chris's son knows it was very important to Chris that everybody had access to his material primarily for free, you know. And so, you know, we're just trying to figure things out, you know, from here. It's just a lot. It's overwhelming for even just one person to deal with. So we're being patient and letting God lead us and just taking it day by day right now. So I just want to thank everybody for coming on the call. David, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, so now we're also saying like the son is going to be helping her. Like, I don't even know. This is just weird all around. But sorry, I guess I don't really still know what to say about this.
My remembrance of Chris Hallett was that he was fearless, and that was evident with the joy that he had in his life. His mindfulness, his attentiveness to someone that asked a question, someone that was inquiring about this or that. He was very diligent, and just knew that the man was centered on doing good. And I'll always remember him for that. The things that he
Not sure on the oldest son's age.
taught us were from that spirit of having no fear, because he trusted God.
Yeah, I didn't know that he spoke to any of his kids. Somebody that at least used the same name on one of my YouTube videos said that he had a total of 5 kids. And no, this isn't David Jose. I'm not sure what David this is.
Yes, that's one of the things that we were talking about a lot. Because when I came here, I said, Chris, I don't allow a lot of people around me because it scares them to see the level of how God moves in my life, and
I mean, Kim, I didn't see this coming. I was really hoping this was not going to happen. If anything, I figured Kirk was the one that was going to keep going. I really didn't see any of this coming. This is just like, I don't know. I really didn't see the 3-month girlfriend stepping up and still staying in her murdered boyfriend's house and talking about taking over his sovereign fraud company. I mean, it was an actual LLC, but I didn't see this one coming. I don't really know what to say. It's clear because first off, Chris Hallett and Kirk don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. So it's super clear that nobody on this live has any business trying to give any sort of legal advice, and I didn't see any of this coming.
they don't know how to deal with it. And I said, so while I'm here, you're going to get to witness in a very profound way of how God is in my life and how he's always moved me in my faith and everything. And this is going to be a witnessing and a testimony. And he was just so at awe. I mean, you don't know how many times we sat back on this couch right here and we wouldn't even sitting on top of each other. He was on one end and I'd be on the other end, and we're just, absorbing in awe and taking in everything and all the miracles of works that are going on and that what's being put before us, and just being in awe of the blessings and God's word in witnessing. And so that was my message to Chris constantly recently. It was about a message of healing with his personal life and how it was going to further impact everybody else with what he had filed in the court too. It was just like it was going to be so moving, and there were so many things we were looking forward to. But I'm really grateful that he was a believer of God and he was a Christian, and we got to make that agreements before God and his word and the events that happened before this. So I'm very at peace with knowing all of that, and that he was in a very good place. His soul was, Everything was lining up for Chris. And even before the week, of this happening, he just glowed, you guys. The light from him shines so bright. And so I just want everybody to know that he was centered where he needed to be. And I want to thank David for bringing that up, God's word, and the witnessing to God and his strength, Chris's strength that resembled that. So sorry to interrupt you, David. Continue. I just kind of went off on a whole thing there.
It's what this is. It's a gathering, remembrance. I'm always going to remember this man. He was a special man.
We all will.
For roughly 7 minutes.
We'll try to make this
Roughly 7 minutes, Amanda.
I guess a regular thing. So we can all help heal from this. Maybe, I don't know if this makes it easier for everybody. Gives people hope if they can leave comments and tell us feedback, if this is helpful and if they would like us to continue to do this. We're more than welcome to invite more people on that want to share in the message that Chris had and share in his memory. It's just right now we have to be careful because of the slanderous aspect and intimidation that's being created with this case. It's not that we don't want more people a part of this. It's just for security.
Yeah, this is actually titled Virtual Memorial for Chris Hallett. We love you. So yes, Lola, this is his send-off.
And to be able to keep an eye on things a little bit closer, we just have to make sure we really know who's who and they're not nefarious and just trying to gain information so they can use and create more slanderous rhetoric and agenda to push something that's not true. So bear with us. If you want to reach out and express that you would like to be involved, we'll try to accommodate that. So I guess we've kind of come to the end of this. Anybody else? Are we ready to end? Or
I just wanted to ask also, so I made an announcement last week Friday in my group, and I asked if people wanted to continue doing like a Friday night fun night. And it doesn't really matter what day of the week it is. I just wanted to know, when you say do it on a regular basis, are you saying for this day or just, No.
Just, doing something on a regular basis, try to continue the educational piece, of what Chris was doing, and also just to reflect back, give people a chance to be on the platform and share in their personal experience and stuff like that. Because a lot of people didn't get to meet Chris in real life. So
the son is Matthew Hallett, and yes, that's Malika. Malika's on there doing her nonsense.
I think this is a way for them to move on and help heal. If we unite and share Chris's love and memories. So, we could talk more about it, Malika, if you want to do like a formal format like you like doing with your classes and stuff.
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Okay. All right. Well, David, you want to end us in prayer?
Actually,
Or you want me to do it? Or?
Yeah, I was actually thinking of asking Valerie if she would close us out in prayer.
Okay. Anybody can do it. It doesn't matter to me.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to.
Yes, please. Thank you.
No problem. I want to thank the great I Am for this opportunity that you've allowed for these people to begin some type of healing. I want to thank the great I am for the gift that Chris Hallett left. I want to thank the heavens that Chris Hallett made such an impact. I want to thank those that were on here tonight. And I know that God has a greater purpose as he watches over and blesses the family of Chris Hallett and his children. And
I don't know. I can't recognize that David's voice either. I'm not really sure this group that they assembled.
Shannon and the legacy that Chris Hallett left, and that would honor not just what Chris Hallett stood for, but in that honor God, and that would be the best remedy for all. I want to say that heaven has gained an angel and the earth has lost a good warrior. And I end with thank you, God, for such a great opportunity for this man to touch as many people as he touched.
Thank you, Valerie.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah. Well, Chris, you watching us. We all love
literally
you.
felt like his energy here when you said that, Valerie. It's like you could feel it. I don't know if anybody else felt it, but when you were just closing out,
Yeah.
I felt that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right, you guys, we're gonna call it a night. We've been on here for a minute. We'll let you know what we figure out moving forward. If we're gonna have another one of these or actual class format. So I appreciate everybody watching and participating in the comments and sharing. So love you all, and well.
And we're here for you too, Shannon. So please don't hesitate to call any one of us at any time. And I mean that.
Yes.
Second that.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate all the support that I've gotten. If it wasn't for your guys' support and reaching out to me, I don't think I would even be able to do this right now. It's still difficult for me to come out here in the living room.
I don't know if I could go on Facebook Live and ask people to keep with my dead boyfriend of 3 months fraudulent scam sovereign group. Woe is me. Woe is fucking me.
And everything. So it's still a struggle. I haven't been able to cook in the kitchen. So it's difficult. It really is. So on that note, I love everybody. Chris all loved us, and he can't wait to see what we continue to do. So I'm pretty sure he already knows.
Let's not disappoint him.
Yes.
We're not. I promise. All right. See you guys all next time.
Talk
You're
time.
gonna, Shannon, you're gonna end the recording.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
There's that. I still don't really know what to say about it. It's weird though. Shannon won't. Like, that's my only word for it. It's weird. She's still in his house. Apparently, she's trying to get her mom, or Chris Hallett's mom, into it. Apparently, she needs to get passwords and shit from Chris Hallett's son. Apparently, Malika is going to start helping her. Like, I believe he's not even buried yet. Just an FYI, I don't think that Chris Hallett is buried yet, and they're already talking about keeping the same sovereign scam going that actually contributed to his death. So that's brilliant right there. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go ahead and hear Kirk. Kirk played a video of another speech thing. So let's hear what Kirk's up to. Fuck it.
All right, good evening, folks. Welcome to Monday Night Law on Kirk's Law Corner. I am here for the time being. Things are getting pretty crazy here in Idaho. Lots of stuff, lots of people getting active and getting out.
Now, I was told that Kirk was taking a step back from streaming, but I'm not sure if that's true. But this is what he had to say on Monday.
There was debating on whether or not I wanted to go out to the protest at the city mayor's house, and I decided I would stay here and do the show tonight. So I have an interesting video to play, take us back a little bit to March 11th
Can't hear.
2020.
You should be able to hear.
And it's at Hillsdale College with Cindy Powell. And she's talking about how corrupt government is. So I'm going to share this video tonight and kind of go over it as I'll stop it at certain spots. And
I'm not sure why you guys can't hear. I can't really make him go any louder. I think it's just his shit quality. Because yeah, I have volume all the way up. I wonder if I can amplify that somehow. Let me pull up my settings real quick. Okay, I think maybe I can.
We'll discuss some certain things that she's saying there. Trying to give people an idea that these higher ups, people in government and stuff, they know, right? And they've experienced the same things that we have. You know, General Flynn, Mumford, you know, there's plenty of people out there that have been subjected to the same exact crap that we have.
Well, no, but he is super quiet. So I do have like a boost thing that I can do. So that's what I'm playing with right now. So you guys should be hearing it better.
So they know, right? So I hope everybody had a good weekend and managed to survive the Rona. We're on basically we've rolled back to like a stage 2, and in these 4 conjoining counties for this district, we're basically mandatory now to wear a mask outside. everywhere we go. And supposedly it's like a $300 fine or some jail time. We'll see. But I know a lot of people are just fed up with this crap.
Mumbling fuck that he is.
So if you'd like to help support the channel here and keep the bills paid and keep this going, you can do those regular postal money orders, regular money orders, cashier's checks, cash wrapped aluminum foil, all that good fancy stuff, gold, silver coinage. Over there to the office, you can send that through the snail mail, 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite C, Boise, Idaho 83704. On the digital side of things, PayPal and Cash App. My PayPal is Kirk_Pendergrass@hotmail.com. And my Cash App is the $, capital K, capital P, EN 71. And of course, over there on the Patreon, which I apologize, I just really have been not able to really be on there or much of anything else. Been trying to focus on some other stuff here. So mainly here in Idaho stuff. It's just people are just tired of this crap, and everybody wants answers and want to do something. So like I had said before,
yeah, I didn't think Kirk was gonna be able to keep it going without Chris, but like this right here has 4.4 thousand views, so I mean I bet he's at least still getting some cash off this for the time being.
then I'm going to start getting local and start being very active locally. And of course, this is the legislative season coming up. So I'm aware that Idaho representatives have been called in early. They've been called in early. And the subject matter is government reorganization. This is not a special session. This is just a open forum discussion, I guess. My guess is what's coming is what I've been talking about for quite some time. And those that caught Friday night, fun night, had a little bit of fun there, laying it all out pursuant to Trump's executive orders, proclamations, and memorandums. And the important part here is the government reorganization. Complete audit of the entire federal executive branch at that time to start out with.
Kirk looks like he's had better days, though. Kirk super looks like he's had better days. That right there is a man that is concerned about a lot of things, and I don't think one of those things is his dead friend. Those eyes tell a fucking story right now.
Was in March of 2017. Okay, so we're quite a ways down the road from that. And I shared one of the most recent executive orders,
Panda
basically
eyes.
taking us back to 1776.
Of course you think he looks well.
So this is the government reorganization that's coming.
He might have went a little heavy on his eyeshadow in this video, but yes, Darlene, he's looking great.
Essentially a factory reset. We're going back to 1776, and we're going to get rid of everything that's been unlawfully created. Now, whether that actually happens where we're at a point where everything gets removed, we'll see. Because clearly, the FBI is still going, and the CIA, I'm not quite sure about the CIA. Haven't really heard a whole lot about the CIA. So, I know that the Secret Service is still going. And as we'll see in this video about how corrupt the FBI is, and if those of us that have been paying attention, watching things like the House Oversight Committee hearings and, watching this stuff all unfold over the last few years, how corrupt the FBI really is. So we can't trust the FBI for nothing. I mean, my question is how are they lawfully created, and why weren't they abolished?
Them eyes need preparation H. God damn it, Hannah.
In the audit of the entire executive branch. In my mind, that's the military that's supposed to be doing anything that resembles any kind of an investigation, other than that's the power that properly belongs to the legislature. I mean, that investigations are supposed to be, House Oversight Committee. Those are investigations, right? That's where that stuff's supposed to be done. And then the crazy part about our form of government, technically speaking, the legislature is supposed to be the grand jury, which is why we're supposed to petition the legislature, which is supposed to include a formal written complaint. And the legislature is supposed to be the jury, the grand jury for criminal indictments. And especially when it comes to elected officials. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get to that tonight about impeachment, but it has been brought to my attention that in the commentaries on the Constitution by Joseph Story, which I also shared a little bit about that on Friday night, and I've shared quite a bit about that in other shows throughout the years here. But I guess Joseph Story breaks down about the impeachment process and criminal indictments and stuff. But I keep trying to explain to people, elected officials, there's a different process for them. Okay, as a non-elected official, we can go straight with criminal indictments. We need to quit horsing around. And this Title 42, 1983 stuff is just a common law tort claim. It's civil. It does not get them removed from duty. This is never, how long have we been, what was it, 1956, I believe, is when Title 42, 1983 was created. So, how many public servants have been removed from duty going through that process? 0. So, in my mind, we need to be doing something different. And my basic understanding is criminal indictments, right? That's what we're going to use to get rid of these bad actors in government. Because they can't they can't be employed by us, the taxpayers, their boss, for what they can be removed for treason, high crimes, felonies, misdemeanors, and even breaches of the peace. They can be removed from duty. So, that's another comment. I have dealt with the FBI. They are so corrupt, and I've heard that from many people. And not to mention all of the evidence that we gathered there back in March, April of 2019. There was plenty of FBI documents there with FBI agents' names on it doing these alleged investigations, and people were threatened. Some people come up dead when they were filing complaints, especially dealing with these child pedophilia ring stuff.
God damn it!
And it's like, again, it's the fox guarding the hen house. You call the FBI to do an investigation on something, and if you're telling on a bad actor in government, they go in and they protect them. When they come back and threaten the witness, the whistleblower, the complainant.
This is this, I think, is put together way worse than I don't even know. Kirk can't keep this going. I don't think there's any chance in hell that he can keep this going.
That's not right. That's not how government's supposed to work. But that's the way it's been for easily 20 years now, right? Again, Chris and I have talked about this change that happened in the 90s there. And that's when I felt it, around 1994-ish. So, my mind, that's just Agenda 21 kicking off and coming into effect, and they're started implementing certain things. Right, Mark? Comment out here on YouTube. Newsmax was on Kindle looking at the Constitution. They show 10 articles, then 14 amendments. Why a second article and a second amendment? 2 constitutions. That's right. That's the 1787 Constitution. These were 1789 with the Bill of Rights, which is this right here. Right? So they don't show the top portion of this very often, right? But we see right there, it says articles in addition to. And then we see all these over here where it says articles, 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 articles. Articles. They are articles in addition to and amendment. And a amendment. So the Bill of Rights stands alone as its actual own document. Just like the English Bill of Rights. Just like the Virginia Declaration of Rights. And this is why American jurisprudence says that American Jurisprudence Volume 16, Constitutional Law, Section 100, that bills of rights and those merely declaratory of the common law. Our rights are actually the law, the right, our rights that are common to all. That's the fundamental law. So, we see here, we have evidence of this change. We know about this change. And I believe that's what Bill of Rights I was just reading. What Trump is doing right now is bringing us back to 1776 and doing a factory reset. It's like you do on your phone or your computer. Things get so corrupted it doesn't want to work right anymore.
Trump isn't bringing the country back to 1776, but oh, I just noticed this comment at the bottom. How can we get copies of the Constitution? Period. Question mark, question mark, question mark. That was a top fan, Leah Newton, who commented and asked how to get copies of the Constitution. Because, oh dear.
Just go in and do a factory reset. And I pretty much laid that out on Friday with what's going on.
Fuck.
And I'm going to share this video with Sidney Powell speaking at Hillsdale College. Clear back to March 11th, 2020.
Oh my God.
So, with no further ado, let's go over to that. Get this ready here. Sure, I share the audio. There we go. All right, here we go.
A copy of the Constitution. Oh, I still like
really
that.
am honored to be here and speak to this auspicious group.
God, he just plays like an hour of Sidney Powell talking, which none of this is happening. If you've been keeping up with any of this, I mean, Trump's losing all of his lawsuits in court over the election. That's what is happening. One of the most famous ones was in Pennsylvania, where they were talking about there was no Republican observers allowed in the room. And then his attorney said that there was a non-zero number of observers in the room. So, I mean, Trump lost the election. He's not bringing the country back to 1776. I don't think Trump even understands what was going on in 1776 or what relevance it has to this country at all. I don't even know. This video, it looks like this is when he finally comes back. So he talked for like 20 minutes about a bunch of garbage, and then I just played this video. I don't know. I think it's clear, though, that Kirk can't keep this up without Chris. Chris was like the stability. Chris was probably the one putting together the show and shit like that.
Color of authority, color of law, whatever it is. And it needs to go throughout the whole thing, and everybody needs.
Dude, I couldn't help it, man. That Constitution comment got me. How do we get a copy of the Constitution? And and the people that follow this shit, my God, we want our peace of mind back now. In all caps, lack of accountability. Some should be executed. No jail. Treason is to be execution. They have been stealing from us taxpayers for decades. Enough is enough. So yeah, Kirk Pendergrass is the one that's gonna fucking fix that.
Oh crap! You do that, you may end up going to prison. Right? See, this is that fundamental principle of when the people fear the government, we have tyranny, and where the government fears the people, we have liberty. People need to be held accountable. They need to be going to prison. In fact, that's the way it's supposed to be. They're the ones that are supposed to be going to prison. Otherwise, we just have murder, rape, kidnapping, and assault and battery and breaches of the peace. That's the fundamental law. That's the common law. That's it. The rest of that's all shit made up. Bills of attainder, bills of pains and penalties.
Yeah, Kathy, that's actually what he's referring to. He saw the executive order where with the education plan that Trump put. It's an education plan for reteaching the history of America, and that's what Kirk is basing this whole crazy idea off of. He says that executive order about the education system actually means that Trump is taking the entire government back to 1776. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's fucking weird.
1, Section 9 and 10. No bills of detainer, no ex post facto law, and no law impairing the obligations of a contract. Must be a capitalist society where we have the right to contract, and our right to contract is unlimited. No law shall impair the obligations of a contract, with the exception of fraud. There's always that exception to the rule there. But again, we've gone so far away from what our true Republican form of government actually looks like, including statutes. Who in the hell makes statutes? I can't find anywhere in the Constitution where they says that they make statutes.
Jesus Christ.
They make enactments, which is supposed to be policy, but really, in my mind, when they say a bill, it reminds me to, like this bill I got right here, to pay my bill, right? That's what we do with a bill, right? We pay the bills. I thought that's what we actually instituted government for, was to pay the bills. They're supposed to be doing business, paying the bills. So how is it, see, this just goes back to those of you that are my age or a little bit older, might remember Schoolhouse Rock, right?
Ow.
I'm just a bill. I hope I become a law. No. That was brainwashing back in the 70s. Teaching us all that Congress has the power to make law through paying bills. When those bills are supposed to be paying the bills of the contracts to subsidize John Doe paving. We need this road paved over here. Several John Doe paving companies submit an estimate, a bid, and Congress has to decide which one of the three they're going to hire. And they have to subsidize it. They have to create a bill to pay that bill to pave the road. In my mind, that's how it's supposed to work. Otherwise, it's all at the ports, right? For importation of goods, they're supposed to be taxed there, and those taxes are supposed to pay the wages of all of the representatives in government. Essentially, that's where we're supposed to get our money to pay these people. Interstate and foreign commerce, transportation. Okay, got to have a driver's license to transport this as a driver over to there, because you're being hired to drive as a driver, right? That's what I get out of the Constitution and how our form of government is supposed to be, a very limited in the scope and authority that was delegated. But like she mentioned earlier, you know, last 20 years, things have just really changed a lot.
Yeah. I kind of feel like fuck Kirk. Ow. Thank you. What's what is it? I think Timmy's over on Rumble now. Let's go pop by and see what Timmy's up to. Kirk ain't, I don't even know what that was. That was just depressing and boring. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I just don't think Kirk's going to be able to keep that going. Let's see. I think Timmy has moved over to Rumble. I got a James Red Pills America. Let's see here. I thought I had a Timmy account somewhere. Oh, maybe it was BitChute that I was thinking of. Let's see, published November 23rd. Yeah, here's some Timothy Charles Homeseth. So maybe like instead of going for ending it on a depressing, falling apart Kirk Pendergrass, we could fucking do this. Oh, what's he doing? He's just fucking... What's a fucking Randy live on E-Claws? That's funny. Timothy stole one of their videos now. He must be getting a little desperate. Is he even putting his own content anymore? Autograph calls President Trump. What's this one? Ghost of Watchmen. COVID-19 genocide. Like Claire Edwards, is he... Well, I guess he never really did his own fucking content, but is he... Like, is that all he does now, is just rip off other people's shit? He's not even doing his stupid little song or anything before it? Troops deployed under Posse Comitatus in the Insurrection Act. That's Jesus Christ. He doesn't even understand what Posse Comitatus is like.
Legal Eagle is coming in loud and clear thanks to Ting Mobile. Before President Trump's photo op at St. John's Church in front of Lafayette Square, which resulted in peaceful protesters being gassed with chemicals and shot with rubber bullets, he appeared in the Rose Garden behind the White House to outline his response to the protests that have roiled this nation. President Trump threatened to take dramatic action to quell the protests, including invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807, which allegedly would allow him to deploy the military to crack down on protesters and rioters. President Trump did not officially invoke the Insurrection Act, but he did use his unique authority within the district to make a serious show of force. In recent days, for reasons that should be relatively obvious, people have debated how much authority the president has. The president may use distinction between...
So now Timothy Charles Homeseth just completely just rips off other people's stuff. That's all he's doing. That's fun. Is this command posts? What? He's on YouTube? Is he doing anything on YouTube? Or is he just ripping off other people's stuff on YouTube too? Yeah, I actually like Legal Eagle. But I can almost guarantee you whatever he is saying is not what Timothy Homeseth is saying that he's saying. What was it? Command post. Are you sure it's command posts on YouTube? There's a lot of command posts, it also turns out. Oh, it's Randy, so what? Timmy's like in full hiding and Randy's just stealing people's content and posting it through his shit. Timothy Charles Homeseth doesn't have any business doing a lot of things. What's going on their task force channel?
Okay, so I'm Gemma, as everybody on my group knows, and I was just shopping in a unknown hardware store, and I happened to run into the lovely, was it Alyssa? Yeah, it's Alyssa, and I happened to tell her my vote hasn't been counted. And what did you just tell me?
My dog voted in the 2020 election.
And how did you find this out?
I got an email that now won't open because the server is down, apparently.
No, ma'am. Mass arrest for torture. So fucking god awful.
Can you hear me running? Can you hear me calling you?
Okay, so Timmy's doing well.
Please help. Someone close to me may be connected to the disappearance and murder of countless children, most of them refugees or otherwise disadvantaged, all untraceable, all forgettable, and now all dead. He told me about a drug called adrenochrome that could produce a high beyond any other, and unlike those other drugs, there are no ill effects. Quite the contrary, there are substantial benefits from consuming it: greater health, increased vivacity, and a host of other, smaller effects. Combine those with an intense sense of euphoria and you have a substantial demand. The issue is this: it is a derivative of the chemicals produced by the human body when it is under intense, immeasurable fear. My former friend, who confessed his involvement during a fleeting crisis...
I like that he's actually using a new 2018 creepypasta scary story from Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. Oh, they just get dumber and dumber.
...of conscience, insisted this was true and cited a number of dubious-looking studies and fake news sites. But then there were the photos. He didn't allow me to make copies for fear of implicating himself personally, but he'd been to a farm, he called it, in one of the Baltic states. There were photos of countless people, all seemingly under the age of 15. They were naked and chained to tables and walls and floors in a windowless room the size of a football stadium. I couldn't estimate how many there were. As he scrolled through the photographs and I debated killing him, I saw masked men hovering over the victims and torturing them. As they were being tortured, their blood was being drained into containers. Other photos showed the production...
The funny thing is that Timothy probably actually doesn't know what creepypasta is. It's a government document. The U.S. military has already been rescuing children from underground facilities where they were held like animals in electrified cages, chained, sexually abused, subjected to genetic experiments, tortured for adrenochrome, and murdered. Timothy Charles Homseth reported the fact for the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force in October 2019. The video has been repeatedly removed by YouTube after it goes viral and approaches 250,000 views. Watch. See that shit right there, because Timothy is 100% full of shit. And I believe that Timothy has pedophilic fantasies because people don't sit around thinking about children being held like animals in electrified cages, chained, sexually abused, subjected to genetic experimentation, tortured for adrenochrome, and murdered. Like, you got to realize, and that's the disturbing part about people like fucking Timothy Homseth, is that he sits around and makes this stuff up in his head. And that's kind of been a weird thing with a lot of the heavy Q stuff. These guys that just, they're fantasizing about children being kidnapped and tortured and raped and experimented on in underground layers and telling other people it's true and shit. Like, I think Timothy has some very strong pedophilic fantasies going on. I would not be surprised to find out that he's ever acted on any of those pedophilic fantasies or that he ever does. It's like, it's not okay. I don't think that he should just be roaming the streets and shit. Oh, I guess this part doesn't have sound.
Hello, Americans, and welcome to Timothy Charles Homeseth Reports.
This is the sort of setup that the government gives you when you're working for Trump. They put you in a shitty little room with a shitty TV and have you play like a YouTube video of American flag. This is how the government works, especially when they're dealing with top level security children rescuing missions.
Investigative journalism and reporting for the times we're living in. I'm Timothy Charles Homeseth. And while I once was an award-winning news reporter for mainstream news from the days before the Great Awakening, I became a target of...
No, he wasn't. He was a putz for some small-town local fucking media. He's not what he claims to be on any level.
Kidnapped and imprisoned by the deep state after I uncovered a worldwide black market baby sales and human trafficking operation being run through the Ukraine embassy in Washington, D.C. I am now the only journalist author.
And that's what goes back to Kim Picazio. He claims that Kim Picazio, this attorney in Florida, without producing any evidence in the last 10 years of him making this claim, has been trafficking children through Ukraine, because why not?
Authorized to report exclusive content for the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. And there is one person between me and President Donald Trump. And that person meets face-to-face with President Trump and his wife, Melania. Today's Intel drop is going to be a recap of a story I exclusively broke on October 14th, 2019, which subsequently appeared in a YouTube video that has now exceeded 100,000 views. The information I delivered to the public was regarding a military operation in California where U.S. Marines rescued 2,100 children from their torturous confinement in underground bases and bunkers. Since October, when I released that information to the public, there's been a great deal of online social media bantering regarding the report. Much of it due to the fact that I don't provide the actual name of my Pentagon source, which can, in many instances regarding journalism, create doubt regarding the credibility of the story and doubt as to whether the event actually happened because it can't be, if you will, verified. Understandable. So I will explain. Timothy Charles Homeseth report.
Motherfucker. God damn it, Timothy. You piece of shit. I just got a Facebook notification that because of some of the music, I got a Facebook video matches 31 seconds of audio owned by Warner Music Group Rights Management. God, Tim, you piece of thieving shit. You can't even use music that is royalty free. You piece of shit. I hate this guy so much. I don't know. I think Facebook's still on there, but I think they just muted like 30 seconds of my... Man, that's probably going to be hit on YouTube too. I'm gonna do something back to him for that shit. Ugh.
Reports brings you investigative journalism and reporting for the times we're living in. It has become an absolute and inescapable fact that what we used to call the news has been fully exposed as a well-funded disinformation and propaganda delivery system, diabolically deployed by demonic and evil entities as a weapon against the inhabitants of the world, who had become so brainwashed and enslaved they believed and acted upon any message that appeared on the TV screen in their living room. Therefore, news reporting for the times we're living in involves the reporter's ability to report truth.
He doesn't get away with it. That's why he's got to post it on all these other shits. Like on YouTube, I imagine it was probably demonetized. I imagine it's not on Facebook, or it's got some sort of fucked off blocking thing on. I don't even know if I can win that dispute. Fuck it, let's dispute it. I think that'll get it at least normal again while they decide on the dispute. Okay, here, I'm gonna play this while I dispute it.
Things that are so.
Oh, I think they did shut down my stream on Facebook. Oh, Timothy, I fucking hate you. I'm gonna get you back for that, Tim. I swear to God, Timothy Homicide, for you being a little rat turd that you are. I'm 100% blaming him. Little thieving, weaselly-looking fuck.
Fathomable that the brainwashed masses are not capable of believing those true things. And thus, the reporter must have the ability to report the true and unfathomable, while also breaking through the cognitive dissonance of the public enough to activate the viewer's dormant critical thinking skills. The end run around the mass deception of the corporate media began with an operation called Q, which skipped around the Luciferian and satanic information gatekeepers and delivered information directly to the public, who could then use the information to seek out the truth for themselves. That operation is still underway, and anyone who wants to activate their critical thinking skills should begin reviewing Q drops immediately. Now, as far as a living, breathing man speaking directly into a camera, for some reason or another.
Which, yeah, by the way, like with them talking about being suppressed on social media and shit like that, it's not that he's being suppressed, it's that he's stealing people's shit. Like, that's why Timothy gets removed from places. He is stealing things he doesn't have the right to use and then uses it over and over again. And so he gets strikes and bans. He gets copyright bans. That's what happens. It has nothing to do with him exposing truth or anything like that. He's just a fucking bottom-feeding piece of shit that's straight up ripping off people's shit. Which, Timothy, if you ever happen to see this, or Randy, if you're out there, it's called Artlist. It's not very expensive. I think it's like $100-some a year or some shit. You can download your own music that's royalty free. You can own it, and then you can use it. Like, that's what I do for videos I make. You have the rights to use it. You don't have the rights to use any of this shit, Timothy. That's why your shit's getting pulled down. Man. That's frustrating. Whatever. That's annoying. I hate Timothy Homseth. I think we'll go ahead and end that live here so I can try and fix the Facebook one and get this dispute done. And yeah. I don't know. I do have Randy's. I've found some of Randy's family and shit. That ticks me off, so I'm going to do something back to that little Weasley thieving fuck. Nah, it's good, Fireman. It's happened before. But it's just funny. It also just dawned on me, like with all these claims of how Timothy's being silenced from social media because of all this nonsense, like if he's spreading truth and they're trying to silence that and shit. It's not silencing, it's fucking copyrights. It is copyright infringement. That's what he's getting in fucking trouble for. That makes a lot of sense too, because he puts that music like on every video, and some of those new ones where he's just ripping off people's content, he's not putting that song on anymore. That makes a lot of sense with his suppression of truth. A little Weasley bastard. That's okay. We can figure out ways around that, even if I have to just take chunks of his video out. Because yeah, that's a Warner music claim. That didn't happen until Tim's video. So that makes a lot of sense. And then his little dumb fuck followers just eat that shit up and think, oh yeah, the deep state is fucking oppressing him. When in reality, he's just stealing other people's content. He's stealing a song that's trademarked by Warner Brothers. Huh. Okay. Well, that makes sense, though. That makes a lot of sense. That and also the like spreading false information thing, because they did start cracking down on like Q and COVID and those sort of conspiracies. But even before that, when he was talking about his videos being taken down, that's what was fucking going on. He was getting copyright strikes. That was his suppression. What a fucking dirtbag. All right. All right, that's cool, though. That's cool. We learned something just now. You know, look for the silver lining in things. And that's the silver lining. We just learned something about Timothy. I never realized that before. That totally makes fucking sense, though. Because I think I've even gotten a strike on the past for one of his videos. So that makes sense. That was quick, too. Like, damn, Facebook hopped right on that. But that's got my little gerbil running. So, okay, yeah. We'll go ahead and end that here. I actually got to finish this other, like, commission thing I was doing anyways on Illustrator before I started this live. I just went live because of that. Shannon talking about restarting eClaws shit. So I guess we'll keep an eye on that. We'll try and find some other stuff too. I'm gonna finish this Illustrator piece. Links in the description. I think the link in the description leads to articles related to eClaws, if I remember correctly. And of course, there's the links to support the channel and everything. And I started putting in the email at the bottom. If you have any tips, live video ideas or anything like that, the Gmail down at the bottom of the description, you can now send shit like that to me, and I'll be checking that. Man, the LSD one was fucked up. And yeah, that's another thing. I'm going to start getting more stuff that's away from this, and I'm also going to start doing more relevant topics again. But yeah, there is email down in the description now at the bottom, so you can 100% send me any sort of info, tips, live video ideas. I mean, hell, I guess even like if you want to see about being a guest on a live and shit like that, you can do that as well. Basically anything. General inquiries. There's an email for general inquiries now at this point. Let's go with that. And yeah, so that is what's going on in the description. There's all that stuff. And I think that'll do it. I guess I'll do it. Fuck you, Timothy.